Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Write Ambitions podcast, where I discuss word usage, grammar, writing, and editing. I'm your host, Jenny Watts. Thank you for joining me. Today, I would like to talk to you about writing. I talked before, way back in episode 4, about ways you can make your writing more interesting and make it pop. And in episodes 5, 6, and 7, I talked about some writing myths, like splitting your infinitives and beginning sentences with and or but, and ending sentences with prepositions. Well, all of that is meant to help you decipher some of the rules of writing, what you can and can't do according to those rules, and know when it's okay to break those rules. So it's all part of what I consider the 3 C's of writing: consistency, clarity, and cohesion. So today's topic is going to talk about another aspect of writing, which will definitely help with clarity, and those are modifiers, specifically dangling modifiers, those danglers. So let's start with dangling participles. Let's approach it the same way we approached the split infinitives topic. What's a participle and what makes it dangle? So, participles are words that serve as adjectives and have verbal forms. So, there are present participles and there are also past participles. Present participles are words like teaching, learning, asking. And past participles are words like taught, asked, and learned. Different types of verbal phrases can cause dangling problems. Types of verbal phrases include participial phrases, gerund phrases, and infinitive phrases. They are all modifiers. These phrases all help the reader understand who is performing the action in the sentence. They name the actor. In other words, they provide clarity in the writing. Now, before you start rolling your eyes like, English class, okay, I'm going to break it down for you, so hopefully it's easy to understand and you don't feel like you're, back in English class. So participial phrases usually appear right after a noun or a pronoun that they modify. But they can also appear further away from the word that they modify, but most of the time they appear right after. So an example is, I read a book detailing the steps needed to apply for college scholarships. So that is an example. The detailing the steps needed to apply for college scholarships is a participial phrase. Gerund phrases always function as nouns. So that means they're either subjects, subject complements, direct objects, or objects of a preposition. So examples are, my dogs like playing with sticks. Playing with sticks there is the gerund phrase. Facing your fears helps you overcome them. Facing your fears is the gerund phrase. Infinitive phrases can function as nouns, adjectives, or as adverbs. And they typically involve the preposition to, and the base form is a verb, such as to teach, or to ask, or to learn. So an example is, to drive while intoxicated is stupid. So to drive is the infinitive phrase. Cool. Okay. So where does the dangling come into play? Well, the dangling occurs when the modifier doesn't identify the actor in the sentence. So it doesn't relate to anything else that's going on in the sentence. So it's not attached to anything, therefore it's dangling. It's all out there by itself, alone. And that's sad. So here's what I mean. Deciding to accept the job offer, the human resource manager shook Jane's hand. Okay, so did the human resource manager accept the job offer? That's kind of what that sentence sounds like, when really it's Jane who has accepted the job offer. So that's dangling, deciding to accept the job offer. It's dangling because it's not identifying who accepted the job offer. So we could change it to say, when Jane decided to accept the job offer, the human resource manager shook her hand. I could argue that that's still not the greatest sentence because it could be read that the HR manager is kind of standing in the corner like weirdly and oddly shaking her hand for no apparent reason. So to make this more clear and more concise, I would rewrite it to something like, Jane shook the human resource manager's hand to signify acceptance of the job offer. Or Jane accepted the job offer and shook the human resource manager's hand to seal the deal. So that makes it more clear. It identifies who is performing the action. Here's another example. To satisfy his mother, the homework assignment had to be completed before dinner every night. This sounds like the homework assignment is trying to satisfy the mother. To correct this, we could rewrite it to name the actor and the subject. So it would read like this. To satisfy his mother, John had to finish his homework assignments before dinner every night. Sometimes in writing, we feel like we need to be fancy and use phrases and separate them with commas for emphasis, and a lot of times it's just not warranted. When we write that way, we can create danglers. So when you're writing, just be mindful of your word placement and the meaning of the sentences that you're writing. Make sure that you identify your actor, just keep that in mind when you're writing. So who is performing the action? Make sure it's clear to you, and then make sure it's clear to your reader. Your writing will be tighter as a result, and there won't be any dangling, and there won't be sadness. So my challenge to you is to pay attention to the actors in your writing and be on the lookout for dangling modifiers. That's all for now. Thanks for joining me, and tune in next time for a chat about parallelism. See you then.